I'm up. Ganja smoking, they got rum in me cup. Bad girls wind up on the dance floor. All the girls wind up on the dance floor.
They're locking their way into the objective right now as we see the percentage climbing, looking to see if they can get that tick to start it up, and it will be captured by the side of Stealth. Aries, though, off the objective, gets the double kill onto Red Hoodie and Stealth as they go ahead and make their way into the objective now. The tackling coming in from Degento ends up sending Coyote over the side, and the Deadeye from Aries will shut down Liquid Cell 15% and climbing right now. The fight continuing on as Crazy ends up taking down Berkey, and that will be a control flip over to the side of Calamity, 20% for the side of Stealth.
That was a great fight there by both teams. I mean, you see Stealth get the, or Calamity rather, get the 2 initial pickoffs, and however, Calamity does a great job, or Stealth rather, does a great job of bringing it back and capping the point, but Aries uncontested, gets the 2 picks that they needed, and then they win the fight.
And this is something that we saw last night too. Crazy on that Ash, using that dynamite to just kind of keep everyone at bay. The Shatter coming in right now from the Gentle Touch. Ends up getting 2, but due to the nerf and not having anyone close enough to follow up on, they're going to end up escaping as they regroup right outside of the spawn for the next fight. 35% in climbing for Calamity. Oh, and it looks like we have a pause on the field. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Laggy.
It looks like we're having some ping issues. Hopefully we don't end up having a DC. We have quite a few ultimates on the field right now. KBC with the bomb and Krosky with the beat drop, along with Boostception and Coyote with the nano and grav respectively right there. So interesting positioning for the side of Calamity as they are literally doing everything they can to keep Stealth off the objective. Hammer, do you feel like that's their that's the best way to do it, or do you think that they'd have a better chance just trying to take them out as they're coming into the actual objective itself?
I think with the composition that Calamity is running, it's really important for that they're capitalizing in the engagements, right? They can have the 2 hit scan, capitalizing on the high, and then you have the Diva that can peel for them as well if somebody gets on them, and contest the point as well. So you really want to make sure you're getting him in this engagement, especially since they don't have the speed boost.
That is true. Without the Lucio, it's really hard to continue to engage in here. The Nano already going in on to Berkey, looking to see if they can re-engage. Graviton now coming in, ends up sending the bomb into the Graviton. It's Crazy as the Diva Bomb goes down, ends up not getting the value it's looking for. Now we're going to see the Blizzard in from Liquid Cell as the Gentle ends up taking down Berkey. Now the Nano going in onto the Gentle, looking to see if they can continue to hold on to this objective right now. Crazy takes down Red Hoodie with the dynamite, and they will continue to hold this objective despite the loss. The separation going in right now. Liquid Cell just a little bit away from the team with 75% and climbing right now for the side of Calamity as they are all sorts of loco holding on to this objective. Stealth coming online with the tack visor here shortly to make their way in, but Aries does have that Deadeye ready to pop as we see the re-engage on the objective. Here comes the tack visor, and the Shatter from Berkey from the Gentle rather in return gets no value whatsoever for either Shatter that came out, but Berkey swinging for the heavens is going to take that hammer and take down 2. They grab the objective with 98% for Calamity and restart their percentage climb.
That was a really great push there from Stealth, recognizing that they didn't have a lot of time left, and they played really proactively. Even though Red Hoodie was still a bit behind, they understood their win conditions, they pushed in, they got onto the point, which really thrives with the mate and denies a lot of those sightlines that you would have otherwise gotten with Ash. So great plays there by Stealth, getting onto the point and utilizing the win.
All right, let's get back into the action. It looks like we're hearing it once again. Beat drop, Blizzard, Bob, all the bees coming in right now as it is just a melting fest right now. Berkey gets the Nano, looking to see if they can reclaim a victory right now as it is a 2v2 right now on the objective, but Crazy is incredible with that flintlock rifle, ends up getting the double kill. Recontrol over to Calamity, and 100 to 65. They will grab the first objective here on Lighthouse.
That was a really huge combo there by Stealth, getting that huge grab Blizzard off. However, the Blizzard just came off a little bit too late, And Krosky kept them all alive with, and it looks like we have a pause for a DC, I think. But back to what I was saying, that
go ahead.
Calamity did a really great job. You coming back from the grab blizzard combo. Krosky kept them all alive with the beat drop, and then they pushed in, got the picks, and during the grab that they needed, so that they had a harder time for them to capitalize during the combo, and they were able to come back and win, which was really good.
All right. We did end up having a DC boostception out of it right now, but it looks like from our players, they're having quite a difficult time playing right now. Just the servers being incredibly laggy. It sucks, but when we're all playing from home, we can only do what we can with what we've got. So we're just going to kind of try to work through it best as we can. Looking in the chat, people are wondering if there are rules on pauses. Typically, it's just based on what ends up happening in the match itself. Like we have it set to pause automatically on DC. But even if there's not a technical DC, sometimes the system will still pause if it sees them, like if they disconnect just enough, I guess. So that's what we ended up seeing there. Those couple of times, it's just having some issues tonight, but I am sure we will be able to get things rolling again shortly. Looking in the chat, it looks like a lot of love coming in for Berkey, apparently the legend. I didn't know even Berkey had that title. So, and not to say that Berkey doesn't deserve it. Definitely one of our impressive main tanks over the numerous seasons here at OCCS. Always laying down those fat shatties on the Reinhardt. So always a good time to see right there. Waifu Warrior in the chat just saying, "Throw me in, coach. I'm ready. I'll take whoever's spot needs to be happening." I don't think it works that way, Waifu. I'm so sorry, but we got to work with who we've got. So Hammer, as we now are moving on to Ilios Ruins, aka Widow's Playground. As you were saying, there's going to be a lot of opportunity for change right here. Is there anything that you would recommend to the side of Stealth right now, being down 1-0, to be able to utilize the design of Ilios Ruins to their advantage?
Well, one thing you can think of is you can run the dive composition, right? I know Stealth tends to prefer that kind of Pharah, which is very susceptible to Widowmaker, especially when you're not wanting to run a Mercy. So Stealth can also play the Hanzo, so running counter double sniper is a very great counter to the Widowmaker. Your whole team can run dive. You can play double shield, running a lot of shields for your snipers and your supports as well. They kind of just fortify there on the point, making it really hard for Widow to shoot past those shields, forcing her to take a bit more of an aggressive angle. And then for the side of Calamity, if they really want to support Ares or Crazy on the Widowmaker, they can either play a super aggressive style composition with the Ryan Zarya, Krosky on the Lucio, pushing them all in. They can play dive, putting a lot of aggression on the front and the back line, forcing people to turn for them, and then allowing Ares or Crazy to do whatever they want on the Widowmaker, take whatever angles they want. And then it'd be interesting to see also if they decide to run double sniper with Ash Widowmaker potentially, or even Ash Hanzo or Hanzo Widowmaker. Snipers are really great on this point. So how they utilize that is going to, I think, make a huge impact on how this round goes.
I can definitely agree with you on all those points right here. As you said before, Ilios is one of those maps that you can literally run just about anything and be successful. It really comes down to the ability to utilize your team of heroes to be as successful as possible. We could see the dive, we could see the double sniper. So far, what we see on our end of this match right now is we're seeing a very similar composition to what we saw in Lighthouse from the side of Calamity. They're running that Ash McCree, those cowboy flutin' dootin' rootin' shootin' combo right there for the DPS, with Stealth and Liquid Zelt again on the Soldier and May, which I don't think will be as effective. Either, as you had said, having maybe Red Hoodie swap over to the Mercy so that they can utilize the Pharah Mercy, despite the fact that they have the double hit scan. You do see some Pharahs that are really good at evading hit scan and taking them out before they're able to end up getting getting taken out themselves. So if they can utilize that to their advantage, that's great. Still using the Brawly Ryan Zarya comp is a great thing to use, but a lot of people have been opting for the Diva to be able to kind of dive in that backline or just to be able to absorb a lot more damage with that defense matrix. So that might be another swap that they could end up using for this fight as well. We're still waiting to get our player back into the action here, and I'm not for certain what the rules are on how long we're allowed to wait before we need to get a sub in. And unfortunately, I don't think Stealth has anybody on the back burner for this evening. So I think what we're gonna go ahead and do, since we don't have a whole lot more to talk about until the game starts, is we're just gonna throw it to a quick break. So just enjoy yourselves. We'll be back momentarily once we've got this all figured out. Stay tuned. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to OCCS. We have got a ringer coming in. It looks like Boostception was having some issues getting back into the game, so we are going to go ahead and have Eternal come in and sub as the off tank for the side of Stealth. So with that being said, that's going to put a whole different direction on this. Now having someone that may not be familiar with the team's strategies and shot calling and whatnot might change how this will play out for the side of Stealth. What do you think on that, Hammer?
Yeah, definitely. And it looks like they're gonna make just because there's a ringer and things are getting kind of confused, they're gonna have Liquid Zell actually swap over to the off tank role, which maybe he is a bit more comfortable on, and Eternal is gonna be playing the DPS role, which we all know him to be quite proficient at.
But it looks like we ended up having a swap for the side of Calamity. KBC swapping over to that Sigma for the double shield, which is looking to be effective because now with KBC using their shield to protect the Gentle can just swing that hammer haphazardly as much as possible. But now we see Eternal coming in, separating out the wall. Eternal's going to get the pick onto the Gentle touch as they go ahead and start things off. It looks like Stealth will go ahead and grab control of the objective with the falling of the Gentle touch and start their percentage climb.
Yeah, that was a great wall there by Eternal. I mean, even again, we see right here, he walls off two people and they just separate them off. Coyote as well, getting a great anti-off, preventing any healing from coming in. I know Kroski would have been like to have been able to amp right there, but unfortunately that was unable to.
Yeah, that happens there. The Gentle ended up sending Berkey far back into their spawn, but Berkey was able to tackle out of that, thankfully, due to another good anti-nade coming out from Coyote. They're going to go ahead and start moving their way into the objective, though. The Nano grinds right now as the Shatter coming out from DeGentle gets nothing but Berkey as the Maywall ended up separating out the rest of the team from that Shatter being effective. DeGentle, though, coming in with the charge, takes down Red Hoodie and Stealth right there, and they will go ahead and take control for Calamity, 45% for the side of Stealth.
That was a great shatter there by DeGentle, taking advantage of Berkey, wanting to play more aggressive with that nano boost. Hits a big slam, despite the fact that it's walled by, I think, Eternal, but it doesn't matter because all potential resources are there, and there comes the team.
Woo! And that bomb placement was perfect. Takes down KBC, but Ares with the Deadeye follows up onto Red Hoodie, so it's a 5v5 fight right now as they move their way into the objective. 30% in climbing right now for Calamity as we see both Stealth, Eternal, and Berkey all bullying the Gentle touch right there. The DMAC is going to come out for Liquid Zeldo from Ares as they Dragon Strike gets invested into the fight, ends up taking down Training Bot right there. Control still in favor of Calamity right now as they continue to try to hold on as much as possible. Now separating out the percentages as the Maywall coming up ends up saving them. Crazy coming in now with the Blizzard. Ends up only getting Liquid Zell there in the backline, but not enough to be able to take them out of the fight. And a fat Shatter coming in from DeGentle with the Graviton from KBC to make sure everyone stays in place. They get the triple and hold the objective. 75% and climbing for Calamity.
Yeah, that was a great hold there by Calamity. Despite the fact that they picked off DeGentle early with the Mei and both healers alive on the point, it's still really hard to push because if one of you gets walled, there's still a plethora of damage coming towards you. So great play there with Calamity. That's an early pick off 100.
And that is huge right there. Berkey ends up falling to Ares after the tackle from DeGentle. Eternal soon to follow right there is the Nano. Now going in on Queen. Freeze B-May ends up getting a couple of freezes right there, stopping Stealth in their tracks. Calamity will go ahead and take this first map here on Helios, making it 1-0 in tonight's series.
Yeah, that was some really great play there by the DPS on the first point for Calamity, and the Ana goes off the map right there. And great plays there on the second point as well. I think the DPS played really well, but got the entire map. It came down to who had the better tank play. And I feel like DeGentle just got the upper hand on Berkey there. So
I can definitely concur with you on that. Berkey just seemed to be either separated out by Crazy during that last map on the Elios Ruins right there, getting picked off very early in the fight, or would end up being tackled away where they couldn't get back to the rest of the team for their safety. Gentle also being on the other side of that, but surprisingly, Crazy just playing that May tank is almost like having a third tank on the field, just being able to use the walls and their icicle to be able to hold on to the objective as long as possible, as well as the healers not being down during a majority of those fights. Just ended up coming up really huge for Calamity that time around. Eichenwald is going to be our next map. We're going to be headed into our hybrid now, which could change things up just a little bit, because now we're looking more at first off that initial capture of the objective, very similar to what we saw on our control points there, as well as some payload pushing. So the dive could definitely continue to be effective if they decide to come out with that. We could see that Brawly Death Ball composition. We haven't seen any Reaper, but I wouldn't doubt that maybe here on Eichenwald we might see some Reaper action this evening. And it looks like everyone in the chat is just giving lots of love. Widowfaker with the 100 bits salt emote right there, giving some salt in the chat, representing their team tonight. Right now, NACL is sitting at the top of the Blackwatch division. So right now, these two teams are looking to make their way back up, seeing if they can steal the victory away from Salt as we are ever closer to heading into the playoffs for this season. What do we see coming out for either team there, Hammer?
Yeah, we see the kind of more brawly composition with the Orisa Rana, the defense. However, with the offense running that Echo Pharah, which can be a very deadly comp if you know how to do it, and there's a lot riding on Red Hoodie, keeping both healed up, especially against Ares Ashe. But if they can do it properly, the Rana and the Orisa have very minimal value, and that's a really early pick on an Ares.
That is a great start right there. Berkey with the Fire Strike ends up taking Ares out of the fight very quickly. Not having that hit scan is going to have a hard time taking down Red Hoodie and Eternal right there, but Crazy is just crazy enough to use that beam to take Eternal out. KBC ends up taking Liquid Cell and themselves right off the side of the map, so it is now up to the Gentle coming in on the Orisa, ends up getting antied and taken out by Stealth in the backline on that far. Mercy there continuing to hold on to this objective, getting that percentage up, looking to get that first tick. But right now, the only one that's able to touch is Ares on that Ashe, going to get taken down by Stealth once again. We're going to see KBC now rejoining the fight on that Rhine as we see them take down Eternal. Berkey soon to follow there by Kroski, and it looks like even after a minute shaved off the clock, picks in favor of the side of Stealth. They're going to end up finding themselves probably, there we go, moving back to spawn to get reset up for their next push.
Yeah, that was a great hold there by Calamity. I mean, they got the early pick off onto Ares, and KBC charged off the map, getting a pick, however, but it was only, and the grab was out there, but Training Bot and Kroski have been uncontested this whole time. They were keeping alive the Gentle Touch on that Orisa, which is a very bulky tank to be fighting against, allowing the rest of Calamity to come back. And a great hold overall, despite the fact that it seemed like Stealth was getting constant picks there.
That is true, and now it looks like it's going to be the battle of the cubes. The bongos coming out now from DeGentle as Ares ends up taking Stealth out of the fight. The res does come in for Red Hoodie, though, as the Nano goes in onto Crazy. It's a Crazy Echo sending out to take down Stealth once again. The Bob now on the field ends up canceling out Berkey as the Shatter comes in along with the Nano. Beat Drop now coming in for Kroski, looking to see if they can get any value out of that Bob whatsoever and get them just long enough to get a couple shots in before hightailing it away from this fight. KBC and Crazy getting some picks right there, but it looks like Berkey is going to try to get back, but not soon enough. KBC with that big ol' hammer gonna take him down once again, and that's another 2 minutes off the clock. Only a minute and 20 remaining for this assault on Eichenwald.
Yeah, Crazy really went in there, got a huge pick on the stealth. The Valkyrie forced really early, having to res stealth up. But then, and the Bongo as well, coming out from Rendento, forced out a lot of resources that they would have liked to use to get in, putting at a disadvantage. And here comes a dupe from Eternal on him.
Looks like we got Eternal now coming in on the Rhine as that Echo right there. Beautiful. Gets some swings in. Not able to get the Shatter. Goes down too quick, but Eternal does get a double kill there near the end. They've got 2 ticks right now on the objective as they continue to hold on that supercharged Liquid Cell. Gonna keep things going as Crazy gets the nano, but just a little bit too late. It's gonna save them. Oh, so close yet so far away. Coyote with those beautiful shots ends up taking Crazy right out of the sky, gets objective alpha, and starts that payload push.
Yeah, that was a great play there by Eternal. Shattering 2, the grab coming out from Liquid Cell, killing off the Reinhardt. And Eternal really did a great job there of contesting their backline. And it was a really great play. However, Crazy did get a few pickoffs, showing how proficient he is on this Echo hero.
Well, it looks like it will be the battle of the Echoes right now. Or no, actually not, as Eternal now swapping over to the Ashe, ends up taking down Bruise, but Ares, or Crazy rather, but Ares follows up onto Liquid Cell right there. Another Bongo out on the field right now as they go ahead and hold this choke point on objective number 2. 2 minutes, 10 seconds remaining right now, and really it's just giving space, taking space. Ares ends up taking down Stealth on the high ground as the res again comes in from Red Hoodie, and now we see Crazy coming in as Rhine. Once again, the Bob gets invested into the fight as well, but Eternal will take Crazy out, and it's a pet shatter! Ends up getting 3 as the barrage gets invested by Stealth. KBC gets a double charge kill right there as Crazy cleaning up the Mercy Red Hoodie. KBC will follow up on Berkey right there at the end, and with a minute and a half remaining on the clock, they will stall at 81 meters.
Yeah, that was a great play there by KBC, and Crazy duping the Berkey on the Reinhardt as well makes Berkey's job as a Ryan really difficult. We saw he was body blocked there next to the car, Orion in front of him, and Orion behind him. And KBC had Shatter, and because of how fast Echo gets her ultimates, the Crazy had Shatter. So all things considered, it was a very difficult position for Berkey to be in.
That's true.
And that's a big
Berkey coming in with the fat Shatter under the cart, but unfortunately ends up getting slept by Coyote, and with no other DPS close enough to invest into that, just was not able to get the value they were looking for. Now they invest the Bob, grab into it, but the Sleep Dart again coming in from Training Bot this time around, ends up sleeping Bob, allowing them to continue to push forward right there. Eternal and Liquid Cell just cleaning up the payload's direction right now as they move their way into objective number 2.
Yeah, that was a great play there by Berkey, shattering both tanks, and despite him not getting any kills, it forced a lot of resources. It looks like they're going to contest this point, actually.
They're not going to contest it long enough. Liquid Cell just going to shred them down as that high-powered Zarya right there gets the triple as they grab objective number 2. 1 minute, 45 seconds remaining as they make their way into the castle.
Yeah, right now I think Stealth is doing a great job at making sure that they're getting a lot of picks, and even though they're not winning every fight, they're forcing a lot of resources early with these picks that Stealth is getting. Eternal, Berkey, that's a big shot.
That's a fatty shatty coming in from KBC, but again, not able to get into the fight with the rest of the team. The Shatter now coming out for Berkey as both Rhines get the nano again, gets a couple, but Ares now out on that Widow is looking for heads to click, ends up getting too crazy now on that Tracer, is going to go ahead and clean up the backline as Krosky takes down Berkey after a well-timed sleep dart. 60 seconds remaining on the clock for us to see if Stealth can make their way into this final objective.
That was a great hold there by Calamity. Ares and Crazy swapping the DPS picks, and I don't know if Stealth was ready for that. Crazy went in and got a pick. Ares got 2 picks on the Widowmaker. And right now, there's no one to really contest them, running the Pharah and the Ashe. Ares kind of has free sidelines right now.
All right, well, let's see if they can keep it going. The payload is being pushed once again. 30 seconds remaining on the clock right now as Shields getting ready to go down. Stealth has the barrage online, having to go back to get healed up because Crazy working in that back line. Uses the pulse bomb, is not able to get the pick that they are looking for right there. Returns back to the safety of the team. Aries clicking heads, ends up getting both Berkey and Stealth as they move their way into the objective. Make that 3 Aries. It is the Aries show right now. And Stealth coming in with the barrage as they get raised up. But Aries taking them out in mid-barrage. There's going to be no value out of it whatsoever as they look to hold on. Now we're going to see the Nano Zarya versus the Nano Darissa, and Shields will prevail right now as we see the re-engage from Berkey just trying to get back into the action. Up Shatter coming in from Berkey as Red Hoodie trying to hold it all together. Aries just clicking head after head after head after head right now. It is the Aries show here on point 3 of Eichenwald, and as overtime ticks away, they will stall the cart at 39 meters.
It's like I said, Aries has free sightlines. With no one there to contest him, he's able to click heads, and with how proficient Aries is on the Widowmaker, from my previous experience just watching him play and has his previous coach, I know that he's incredibly devastating when on that Widowmaker. Whew. And if he doesn't have at least some sort of counter, he is going to make you regret it. I mean, Stealth played that fair there because she had the barrage online. But on that third point, with everything being so close together and that one long sideline that they just couldn't get the cart past, she really had no opportunities to get the barrage off. And as we saw, when she finally did it, Aries turned and clicked her head. I mean, there's nothing she could do there. Plus,
go ahead.
KBC really making his mark on that Reinhardt there, getting multiple big shatters. And even though at the end Berkey got that big 4-man, it's just too little too late. There's not enough follow-up, especially with the CC changes coming in, nerfing Rein's shatter stun from 3 seconds to 2.5 seconds, which might not seem like a lot, but when you hit a big slam, you definitely feel it in the moment.
It is. That's like one swing less that you're able to get in on damage, and with only Berkey and Red Hoodie being the only ones on the objective, it was just so hard to get it in there. Aries absolutely just showing to be a dominant force, is going to come back in on that Widow, and I really hope that they have an answer for it. It looks like Eternal coming in on that Doomfist looks to possibly be that answer, along with Stealth coming in on the Ash. They're moving their way now through the choke point, looking to see if they can get a pick. Eternal immediately diving in, ends up getting the first pick onto Training Bot, but Krosky will follow up on Eternal after the freeze from Crazy right there. They will go ahead and still pull back regardless, and Maywell just trying to absorb a little bit of damage right there, and 30 seconds taken off the clock.
Yeah, that was a great engagement by Eternal, despite getting picked off. That's a big pick by Aries on Stealth. Very early, though the Reds.
That's a good place to start, but the Gentle does take down Berkey as well with that main tank out of the fight. It's going to be really hard to continue to hold on, especially with Crazy on that Mei, freezing anyone and everyone that gets close to them. They're going to go ahead and clean up the objective with the Gentle, tackling Red Hoodie into oblivion, and they will start that push with 5 minutes, 20 seconds on the clock.
Yeah, I don't know if you noticed, but that was a great play there by Calamity. Aries got that initial pick off onto Stealth, and then Crazy put the wall down while people were distracted with the Red Hoodie rezzing, and then Berkey just didn't have enough resources to keep himself alive. Stealth gets the better hand of Aries though in that initial.
That is true. Stealth is able to get that, and I have been on the Ashe side of that Widow Ashe battle. It is so hard to get, but the Shatter coming in from the Gentle ends up getting 2 despite the shield being there. We'll see the Blizzard now come out from Crazy, looking to see if they can clean it up, but Berkey will take down the Gentle, but it is not nearly enough. We will see the triple kill come in from Aries and KBC right there as they go ahead and clear the cart once again. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining as they push past the choke to Objective Bravo.
Yeah, we see a Red Hoodie swap over to the Brig here, potentially to try and put a bit more pressure onto their Reinhardt, which has just been able to kind of crush W. The amount of pressure Crazy and Aries and KBC are putting down with the damage, the walls, and the headshot.
Whoa, and looking there, Eternal ends up getting taken down by Aries, trying to close the gap, but not able to do it soon enough. Ends up getting the second pick onto Liquid, and that is just it. Objective 2 is captured. 5.5 minutes remain for the side of Stealth to push them, or to get pushed in by Calamity. And I don't know where that meteor strike went right there. That was just all. I think they ended up retreating, but that's another fat shatter coming in from Degento. The Bob now going into the fight, but now the Blizzard comes in from Crazy, just locking everyone down except for Eternal. KBC gets the double as Training Bot takes down Eternal with the anti-nade. Degento following up onto Berkey, and that's going to be the objective capture right there. Not a contest to be had. Calamity will go ahead and take Eichenwald, making it 2-0 in our series tonight.
Yeah, that was what one might consider to be a stomp. I mean, Calamity, after first point, just kept pushing and pushing and pushing. There was very little contention coming out from Stealth, and there's not much they could really do. I mean, with Ares on the Widowmaker from afar, it's Crazy and KBC pushing the front line with the gentle touch, and then Training Bot and Krosky doing a great job at keeping the team alive. I mean, it's a really difficult situation to be put into, and there's not a lot you can do, especially with the unfortunate event of Stealth having to run a sub. Any potential synergy they may have is being putting to the test right now, having a sub in there. With Liquid Zell on an off roll, and plus with a sub, it's going to be very difficult for Stealth to bring this back.
That is true. Well, we're going to go ahead and throw it to a quick 5-minute break. Be sure to get yourself a snack, use the restroom, do whatever it is y'all need to do. We'll be back with more OCCS action in about 5 minutes.
Queen, I'm living inside a dream. I'ma go full out. I'ma go full out. I'ma go full out. Sounds alright, feeling so weird. I'll get you higher, but no way you're here, but no way you're here. I feel like you're real already. Come to see you sometime, 'cause I need you real. Can't see her around, trying to get it time. Feeling like there's a night when you're on the side. I'm sorry I do see what I do. All the things I want to know what I do. Feeling like there's a night when you're on the side. I'm sorry I do think of I do. I think of I do. I think of I do. Just what I mean, what I'm told.
Good evening, Overwatch fans. Welcome back to the Overwatch Cavalry Club scrims, where we have Calamity versus Stealth this evening. Calamity currently sitting at 2-0 after the first half. I'm your play-by-play for the evening, Captain Jack, joined by Hammer coming in on the color. We have had an interesting match starting off so far. Looking into the first half, we've got Calamity just absolutely taking it on Elios, was able to get, I believe it was a 100-0 on that first map on light, or no, it wasn't 100-0. It's like 100 to like 69 or something like that. Yeah, 165. And then able to take that second one onto Lighthouse, started them off quite well. Stealth ended up having to take a ringer for the remainder of Elios and on Eichenwald because they weren't able to get their player back into the match. And so we headed to Eichenwald. It was a really rough start, but they ended up getting it all the way to objective number, just shy of objective number 3, maybe about 30-40 meters or so for the side of Stealth. But again, Calamity just coming in, popping off really hard. Ares comes in with that Widow, literally sniping down any head that moves right there. And it is just, it's just absolutely incredible. They take map number 2. And now we are headed to Watch Point Gibraltar. We are headed to our escort map, completely all payload, pushing all the way. And I don't know about you, Hammer, but it seems we might be getting some dive in action going on for this map.
Yeah, everybody knows Gibraltar is a dive map. I mean, when you play it in comp, you want to play dive. You don't want to play double shield. Come on. If you're the guy that plays Brig on Watchpoint Gibraltar, you know who you are, right? You ruin the experience for everyone. But on a map like Gibraltar, as you were talking about, Ares really popped off on that Widowmaker. And as we see again, he's going to be playing that Widowmaker yet again. So it's going to be interesting to see how Stealth will deal with that. Cutting this kind of dive composition